What keeps whirring around your head and keeping you awake at night? And why, no matter how much mindfulness you practice, you still worry so much? So much so that you even end up worrying for other people. In this session, we are going to release that thing, inner pressure, and release it for good. So, what's doing you hidden? What's doing that? What's creating that pressure? Well, that pressure keeps you awake at night, tossing and turning, leaving you tired during the day and awake at night. What you actually want, is a calm mind, peaceful sleep, and quite frankly, a happy head. Before we move on to how you resolve that inner pressure, have you thought? Have you thought about your capacity for new thinking and how that would expand without anxiety? If you didn't have that, if you didn't have all this pressure going on in your head, how your capacity for inner thinking would expand and how you would have the mental room for more and new opportunities. That right now, maybe those opportunities are right before you, but you can't see them because you're too preoccupied with this intensity going on inside of you. So, we're going to look at three things: how to recognize inner pressure, what to do with your inner pressure, and how to resolve, guess what, your inner pressure. So, how do you recognize inner pressure? Now, with it, there is one issue generally, and that is this. Never would have thought of it as that. It is numbness. When you're so used to feeling inner pressure, your mind switches off. It tries to escape. It does that to protect you from further emotional or even physical pain. You can't feel the effects, but your body still recognizes the feelings that you're trying to escape. It tries to get you to own them by the inner pressure and the intensity. The more you bury it, the more pressure you'll feel. So you recognize inner pressure as numbness created by feelings that you're trying to escape. What though if you haven't feelings you're trying to escape and you still got inner pressure? You still feel inner pressure. And you say, well, do you know what? I own all my feelings. I haven't got anything that I'm trying to escape, but I still feel inner pressure. So what is it? You have feelings you want to escape. That's what it is. I know. Mine went into severe physical health issues until I owned them. But I did that. Yeah, isn't it? But I feel all my feelings. What are you talking about? I'm an emotional person. I'm an intuitive sensitive. Yeah. We have inner pressure because there are emotions we're trying to escape. And we've switched them off through numbness. So what do you do with this inner pressure? When you're tired and wired, you're exhausted, yet at the same time, you're a weird kind of hyper. Your adrenals are working on overtime and your mind is full. You first need to own, okay, when you learned not to express feelings. Generally, to anyone, including yourself. When you learned not to express feelings to anyone, including you. Where you learned to be self-expressive, vulnerable, and questioning. would have put you at risk. Risk of what, you might say? Well, risk of humiliation, risk of being chastised, risk of being excluded, whatever it was. Okay? Where you learnt your security relies in considering other people's feelings and not your own. So, where in your life, past or present, you were stuck in a role, okay, unaware you have the right to be taken care of and not to do all the caring. So, for you as an intuitive sensitive, at some point or another, in order to be an intuitive sensitive, to have that understanding of being both instinctual and empathic, you have put to one side at some point in your life your own personal requirements, unaware that you have the right to feel listened to and worthy of attention. Think now of those times, the people and situations it involved. Those are the origins of the inner pressure. Why? Because they haven't been owned. Probably because you haven't understood that, because it's always been normal to you. It's always been normal to you. But your body will say, well, no, these are feelings that we never actually had. So now we still need to have those feelings honored. Well, we're not being honored, so we'll create pressure. Still trying to express. So, how do you resolve this inner pressure? Well, what I found helpful was to stop for a moment and ascertain whose voice in my inner world I was listening to. Okay, whose voice am I actually listening to? When I didn't know whose voice I was listening to, the pressure continued to build. And when I did know that it wasn't actually mine, and I actually thought, whose voice is this that I've got going on in my head that's creating this pressure? And I realized it wasn't actually my own voice, I could then do something about it. But the best thing is, this session's meditation is going to do a lot of the work, that work for you. Okay? If, however, you follow these 3 actions, you'll feel an immediate relief from inner pressure. The first one, identify the pressure. It's never in your head, even though you think that that's where it is. It's never actually in your head. It will be somewhere in the body first. Okay? So identify where it is. How do you do that? Well, you do that with number 2. You put your hand on where it is in the body. So for most people, inner pressure, if they think about it and go, oh God, I'm feeling all this pressure, where is it? No, it's in my head, it's in my head, it's in my head. If you then take a second and you go, hang on, where is it before it got to my head? And then you'll feel directed to a part of your body. For most people, see it, it's the solar plexus, okay? Around the stomach area. Why? Because that's where we tend to feel fear. And numbness is very much linked to fear. Okay, so generally that's where people are going to feel it the most. So then you do that with number 2. You put your hand on where it is in the body. And as I say, might well be, most likely it will be the solar plexus when you think about that. And when you put your hand on there, you say, ask it what it wants. Say, what do you want? What do you want to talk about? Just say, ask it, put your hand on there and say, what do you want to talk about? And wait for the answer. You will get an answer. Okay? You will get an answer in your mind. You will have an answer. You'll have a feeling of. If you're somebody who kind of gets the feel of something, you'll feel it. If you're somebody who needs to see something, you'll be attracted to something that will give you an answer. You'll read something or you'll see something. And you think, oh, that's a bit weird. That's where that came from. So you ask it what it wants. What do you want to talk about? And you wait for the answer. And then do number 3. Identify the voice. Okay? If it's yours, fine. If it's someone else's, okay, ask it to leave. Say to it, ouch. That's the important part. Ouch. Because it's like, oh, ouch. You're not my inner voice. I do not want you in here as an influence. You must now leave. Even if that inner voice, which is often a parental voice, so maybe that voice that you actually hear, which is creating that pressure, you can hear it going, oh yeah, it's why actually I hear it as my mother or my father, or it's a parental voice. You can still say, ouch, you're not my inner voice. I do not want you in here as an influence. You must now leave. It's a bit like, in your own home now. Do you expect to go into your bedroom at night to go to sleep and find your parents in there? No, you don't. You'd be going, what the hell are you doing in here? Oh, well, I just thought I'd, yell at you all night in your head. Oh, get out. It's the same impact. Okay? You would be shocked if they were, you just like, what the hell? It's the same thing. So you say, ouch, you're not my inner voice. I do not want you in here. I don't want you in here as an influence. You must now leave. And it will take a few goes, yeah, but you will feel a release and a lot of relief. But just if you can't see it as that, imagine it as, you're trotting off to bed at night and you open your door and you think, oh my gosh, who are you? What are you doing in here as my inner voice? Out! Don't want you in here. Why would I want to sleep in the same room as my parents? Or it could be, a past boss or a sibling, or it's like, no, get out. It's the same impact. Okay, you will then feel a release. Or would you like me to do the thinking for you? Well, that's what this session's meditation is. It's for releasing anxiety and inner pressure meditation. Okay, that's what it is. That's the meditation for this session. So even if you think, oh, I could do that, or you can have me do the thinking for you, and you can just simply do the meditation. You don't make logical decisions around anxiety and inner pressure. You make decisions based on unconscious beliefs, which has often been stored in the body for years. As Jung said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. So when it comes to, inner pressure, you will think that your numbness is your fate. You don't recognize it as being anything else other than that. You're so used to it because your body's so switched off from feeling that it's gone, oh, well, let's just not feel this, or just, create it as a pressure. But there's still a part of you that's trying to communicate with you and say, oh, these are feelings that we still need to identify and process. We still need to have them communicate. Or if we can't communicate, we'll create a pressure. Okay? So what you're doing is making the unconscious conscious, is identifying what those are, releasing them, bringing them up to the surface, dissolving it. Perfect Monday. You then can resolve things like that. Very simple, very easy, very quick. This meditation will help you undo those unconscious beliefs by releasing the energy stored in your body. Okay? Even if you've never done a meditation before, it's fine. Just follow the words. You have time. There is always time for something this important. Even if it was that you were to just get little bit more sleep. Imagine what that could do for you in terms of concentration, in terms of output, productivity, creativity, time. You wouldn't be so tired. Now you're focused on releasing inner pressure. The issue is, actually, you'll feel quite stunned when that pressure is gone, almost in shock. And you'll be asking yourself, what do I do without inner pressure? I don't recognize myself. And it will be, you don't know. So guess what? You don't know what to do when you haven't got any inner pressure. You'll have no idea. So guess what you'll do? You'll procrastinate. So guess what the next session does? Pushes your growth button so you don't procrastinate. So the next session is pressing your growth button, life beyond procrastination. So make sure you set a reminder now to join me for the next session. Share this episode if you know someone who's struggling at the moment with inner pressure and you think, actually, this would be really helpful to them. But it needs to be someone who you know who's thinking along the lines of, oh gosh, I just wish it was easier. Not someone who's resistant because they're not ready. Okay? You don't want to be shot as the messenger. It's just kind of, you're encouraging people who want to be encouraged. Okay? Like you. Otherwise you wouldn't be here right now on this session. Okay? So share this episode if you know someone who struggles with inner pressure and you think this would be really quite helpful to them. So go now and download the free meditation Releasing Anxiety and Inner Pressure by visiting heidisawyer.com/2, as in the number 2, not the word 2. Okay? Or very simply by clicking on the link below. Do it now, because then you're not allowing the limitation of, oh, things have to be perfect. I just need exactly this, and this, and this, and this. You're just getting on with it. Okay? Don't let that get in your way. We believe your capacity for empathy gives you a unique perspective. The way we help you access your uniqueness is through developing your intuition and your inner world. When you allow yourself this part of you, life is easy. So go now and listen to the powerful meditation, and always remember this: your sensitivity is your greatest asset. Until next time, bye for now.